please forgive me. About today, Samuel, I'm so glad to have you. I see some core 2 students here. I'm so glad to have you again. I believe you've all received your certificate and you're so excited about that. I see some of your celebration on LinkedIn too. Yes, you're welcome, guys. Um, Today is our fireside chat, and we have our amazing keynote speaker already with us here, but you already know how we do it. We are going to do some other things right before I introduce her, and then she's going to have this lovely conversation with us. So are you ready, guys? Are you ready? If you are ready, let me see your reactions again. Yes, you are ready. Yes, this is going to be amazing. Yes, so let me just start by a bit of introduction. My name is Faith Ibitoye, and I'm the community manager for Testers Quarter. So if you don't know before, now you know. Yes, so moving forward, I would like to tell you about what Testers Quarter is about and what we do. And you already know that we are the most active software testing community in Africa. And we have been able to achieve that. I mean, training a lot of people, mentoring people to ensure that they become excellent in their career as a QA engineer. We have also done a lot of other scholarship programs. We had our first and second cohort successfully done. I believe some of them also are on the call, and we have been able to achieve some of these goals and mission we have as a community through our programs. We have Wednesday, the office hour that we usually do on Wednesday by 1 p.m. where we come together, people hop on a call right there at work. They have a question, a new tool they want to, or something they would like us to know about work, and then we'll come on the call together and we'll solve it together. We also have the Friday study buddy, which we're supposed to, we have every Friday night. Yesterday night we couldn't have a session and I put it across to the community, but definitely we have 2 other sessions lined up for the month of August, and please anticipate that. So we apologize for last night. Some other things came up and we couldn't hold that. So moving forward, we have our global fireside chat where we have an expert in the field come talk to us about how they were able to navigate on their journey in QA testing, how they got into the field and how they were able to grow from where they started to where they are right now. And this is a session of that global fireside chat that we usually have every 4th Saturday of the month. We couldn't hold it last week, and that's why we decided to move it to this week. And we have our local community hangout. We have Testers Quarter Lagos, Ibadan, and Abuja. As you all know, there was a hangout with the Testers Quarter UK last month. Yes, last month, and it was very successful. We have scholarship bootcamp where we have like a tester class for people that are just coming newly into the field so that they will know everything. I mean, the basic foundation of software testing. And we have been able to successfully train 2 cohorts, and now they know they have a direct what software testing is, and they can also perform basic software QA engineering. So we have mentorship programs, we have annual gatherings, talking about annual gatherings, conferences. We have one coming up in September. I believe you all are benefiting from the 50% discount for NSCW 25, that's the Nigerian Software Testing Week. And we are the proud organizers of Nigerian Software Testing Week. Yes, we are partnering with other communities like Association of Nigerian Software Testers, like Bugbuster community, like Product Dive. And you don't want to miss it because if you were at the African Product Quality Engineering Conference, you would bear me witness that it was a very great time we had. And this time around, this is Nigerian thing and you don't want to miss it. You're going to have a lot of benefit if you register for this event, because even after the event, depending on the type of ticket that you buy, you get to have all the resources sent to your email so that you can always go back and rewatch. And apart from that, we also have this bug bounty program that is happening for the event, which a whooping sum of up to 2 million naira in cash prizes is already on the table for people that join the bug bounty program. And to be able to join the bug bounty program, all you need to do is to be a participant of NSCW 25. Please ensure that you register as soon as possible because we only have about 2 to 3 weeks to start the event, and the bug bounty must have been concluded before the 6th day, I mean on the 6th of September, so that all the people eligible for their prizes will be able to get it. So please let us ensure that we benefit from this. And apart from that, we have testathons. That's one of them that I just mentioned now, the bug bounty program. We have sometime we go live on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and we have fun and comedy night, which is usually the last Friday of the month. We have test merchandise where testers are called on the community to test an application and then they get paid for it. So that is that about our programs. I believe you will be interested in anything else. So thank you, Mary, for that. We are doing a lot in Testers Quarter. Yes, right now, thank you, Chiamaka. Thank you, Watosi. I missed somebody's name, sorry. So some people want to join the call. Let me just accept them. So I want to know, do we have anybody that's just joining us for the first time today? So that we can give you a shout out. This is your first call in Testers Quarter. We know over the course of the week, I usually get notification of people joining the community, and we're so glad to have you. This is a very good place. You will not be lost on your journey as a QA engineer. Oh, Anthony, I'm so happy to have you. QA journey, being a software tester can be overwhelming at times because the environment is fast paced. People are always doing something and you can feel left out. Michael, I see you. We're so happy to have you. So, but then if you go with a group of people, you can slide into people's DM to ask questions. Then you're so lucky to be in such community. So we're so glad to have you all here. And right about now, I'm going to be introducing our keynote speaker for today. Our keynote speaker for today is Temitope Omolere, and she has over 15 years of experience in the field. We are going to be having a relaxed conversation with her. She's the co-lead of the engineering team at PurePay, a division of InterSuite Limited. She is also a regular speaker at leading industry events with over 15 years of experience in testing, software development, test automation, program management. Temitope brings a wealth of knowledge and versatility to the tech space. One of the things she enjoys doing is exploring how things work, and she's deeply passionate about solving problems. And in her own words, she's paid to be inquisitive, asking the right questions and identifying potential issues in software application long before they become business risk. Collaboration is one of her core strengths. She thrives on working with colleagues to uncover best fit solutions to complex challenges. When asked why she does what she does, she describes it as a perfect blend of curiosity, a commitment to excellence, and a natural drive to fix what's broken. She's always seeking to understand the why, because that's where improvement begins. Her career and organizations she serves have provided the ideal platform for this passion. So outside work, you will likely find her reading a book, diving into passionate conversation with friends like the one we are going to have today, and researching random topics online or enjoying a walk. Guys, help me to welcome Temitope Omolere. We are so glad to have you. Good morning.
Thank you for
Good morning.
having me.
You're welcome. Yes, so this is Testa Scotta. So people that are the community members of Testa Scotta, definitely they know that you are our person. And this is not the first time that we are going to be having. We are so glad that you honored our invitation to come. First Saturday was not very convenient, and you still, found time to join us the second Saturday, and we are so glad to have you. Particularly since the beginning of this year, we started Fireside Chat this year, and we have been having men, 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 men. I say, let us bring a woman now. The first woman I reached out to, she said the time was not convenient for her. So I was like, who am I going to reach out to? That's how you came to my rescue, and we're so glad to have you. We want to hear from a woman's perspective. Women are builders at home. They have a lot of other things. You imagine you are at work for, let's say, 8 hours, and then you come home, you have a family, you have husband, you have children. It's a lot, and then you have to start another shift, basically. So
Yeah.
it's a so we would like to hear from you. So would the first question would like to ask is it's not a question really. I just want you to introduce yourself briefly. Let us know you. Who are you? Temitope?
So I think I am not different from primarily the introduction you read kind of speaks to who I am. I've been in tech for about pretty much my career has always been in tech space. Started as a software developer, transitioned to a QA engineer, and I've pretty much grown over the years in that field, right?
Yes.
And as a person, I think I just love I'm a very curious person, so I ask a lot of questions. I read a lot of things, random topics, the most random things you probably find it in my browser tab because I'm curious. And so that has also helped me broaden my worldview and approach to how I then do my work because of the broad perspective I have about life. And I love collaboration. So for my goal is always at the end of the day, live and let live. What do we need to do? Let's get it done. It's never it's never personal and it's never a fight, right? Because I know in the one of the key things that always comes up with QAs and developers particularly is I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, that kind of thing. But for me, it's let's just get this work done. What do we need to do to get it done, and then we just move. So that's why for me, collaboration is always the first thing I bring to the table. What do we need to do? It's not what are you doing? You didn't do it right. What do we need to do? How do we get it done? Because when we all succeed, then we are all successful. But when it's only one person, or when one person is against the other, then we don't get the value of the synergy that we could have brought to the table. So yeah, and I'm a very chill person. So yeah.
Yes, it's very good that you added that. Thank you so much. We are so glad to have you. So presently, in your bio, I see that you have over 15 years of experience and you have worked at the same organization for quite a long time. I would want to know because these days people, they are saying, no, don't stay in the place, just move, 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 because of a lot of things that are happening in workplaces. I want to just know what's your drive behind the fact that you have been at InterSwitch for quite a number of time now.
Yeah. So for me, I think my perspective to work and to life generally is I look for what aligns with my values. And so I don't move just from a place of what are people saying. I move from a place of what do I want for myself first. And so that alignment, so it's from that center that I then move to determine a lot of other things happening in my life. For instance, the choice of where I live is also because of the values I hold. The choice of the friends I have, places, the communities I choose to belong to is based on the values that are important to me first. Because I believe in a whole person. So it's not just the hustle of I need a job and I need to make money. And because tech is booming right now. So I want to make all the money in the world.
Hmm.
That's really how I move, right? I move from the place of what are my values, what are the things that are important to me, and then I find it in the places I work as well. And so what I tell people, even if you ever have my interview panel, if you're an interview interview and paneling is usually beyond the people asking you questions, start asking them questions as well. So that you pay attention to understand the place you're trying to join. Does this place align with the values I have? Will it give me the kind of freedom I want to have in my life? If it wouldn't, I'm happy to leave that offer on the table, right? But where in cases where it then does, I would stay. The other thing is because I'm a very curious person as well. I also look for places that will give me opportunity to express that curiosity. And fortunately for me, Institute has been a place where easily, even in my current portfolio today, I have over 20 products.
Wow.
So beyond what everybody on the streets would see, right? There are several products that are somehow, somewhere in my portfolio. What it means is that there's never really a dull moment which satisfies the curiosity part of me because there will always be something else to do, more interesting to work on. And then there's the part where also the people I work with, do they have the same values that I have? Because I don't want to be having friction in the workplace. I'm big on collaboration. And so if my workplace would be creating a lot of friction that would not help me collaborate in a healthy way, then I probably don't want to work in that kind of place. So those are some of the factors I look out for in choosing where I want to work. Have I had opportunities to move at different times? Yes. And at each of those instances, I wait and I decide, okay, based on what's coming to me right now, is it a better offer in the holistic picture of what I'm looking for? And if it's not, I leave it. Other times it's because I see, oh, there's this other new project coming on and it's very interesting. And I think I'm interested in working on something like this. So I will stay and do this particular project because I want to participate in this kind of project. So those are some of the things I consider. And that has led to me then being here 10 years. Fun facts, before now, I used to look a job up a year and a half, 2 years tops, I've left because if it's not set, I'm already bored. It's one of the two. If I'm only wanted working on, once I'm done with it, I'm like, okay, so what's next? And if I can't find what's next, then I'm like, okay, that means I'm done here. My assignment in this particular organization is done. Let me go and look for something else to do somewhere else. Right. And I did that for a while. I still have friends who are like, they are shocked that I ended up staying in one place for as long as I have, considering that my history was as soon as I'm done, a year and a half, a year out. So I don't knock those. The key thing is find what is important to you and use that to guide how you shape your career. And then take it from there, basically.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I like the fact that you added a fun fact because that is the balance of this conversation. Because some people will be like, I don't want to stay. But the fact that you were able to eventually get that place that you feel that you are comfortable here, this place align with my values, it's helping me to grow, I'm developing, I'm making impact, is inspiring my curiosity as a person, and then you stay there. So I like that. Thank you so much for sharing. So I also know that you are a co-lead in your organization. I would like you to tell us what does a day in your life look like as a leader in this field as in software testing.
Okay, so I'll try and make it brief. One of the things that happens as you grow in your career is that you start rising and you move a little farther away from, you start moving a little, really, the distance between you and the code begins to expand after a while, right? The distance between you and the actual testing begins to grow as well, depending on what kind of function you're growing into. So in my own case, it's more of now I'm moving from a strategic perspective. I have the big picture of what my business is trying to achieve for the year, for instance, for the financial year we're in. And then that shapes the kind of initiatives and the kind of projects that I'm also running from my own perspective. So those projects, so right now my life is more centered around creating the strategic oversight for my business. For instance, setting the governance around things like, okay, for every product that we're building, these are the baseline we're looking forward to see in terms of how this product performs, in terms of the outcomes that you should be seeing from this product, the volumes that we want to be processing, and then helping the team chat, figure out how that fits into the work they are doing in their everyday life. So it's more of a translating the big picture into the specific details of everybody's work. That's one. The other thing is also, of course, problems not they finish, right? If you're in software development, there will always be something that will come up. So also sitting in sessions where we're trying to fix or troubleshoot situations and problems that come up where, okay, this is a challenge we see coming up. How do we preempt it, or how do we solve it if it has already materialized? So those kind of things. And then I think the other part is also keeping an eye on the numbers to make sure that my products are profitable. So we're not just building and checking test coverage, there's no rollback, but beyond all of that, are we making money? Because if we're building solutions that are not necessarily profitable, at the end of the day, the organization is in business to make money, right? So if we're not being profitable about what we're building, what do we need to pivot into? Or what are the trends we're seeing in the market that if we add this functionality to what we already have will make us a little more profitable and push us closer to the finish line. So those kind of things are primarily what my focus is on now. And of course, R&D to figure out what's coming, what's in the industry, what's changing, and how do we adopt it? How do we then create the best kind of experiences for the engineers on the team so that they can build the products we want to build that will serve our customers as well?
Thank you so much for that answer. And I like the last part of what you just said now, building the best experience for your engineers so that they will have like a comfortable environment to always deliver their best every time. Thank you so much. So guys, we have Temitope Omolere on the call, and this is Fireside Chat. It's a relaxed conversation where we have a conversation with an expert in the field, and it is your opportunity to also ask your hard-bugging questions. You can use this opportunity to ask your question in the chat box so that we can ask it directly to our leader here. So I would like to see your questions in the chat box. While I wait for your questions, please kindly drop your questions. There are no questions that are foolish. Every question is coming from a curious mindset. You want to know. Please kindly drop your questions. So while I'm waiting for your questions, I will want to talk about the NSCW again. And why am I always talking about NSCW? This is our program. We are the chair, like we are the organizers of NSCW. If you check the website now, you will see Testers Quarter there as the organizer. So we are the ones that are supposed to be pushing this event as much as possible. You can make a video, you can do a post. We have a lot of resources online. You can check our LinkedIn page, you can check our Instagram page, you can share it on your story, you can put it on your actual page, you can post those things. And this is one of your ways of giving back to the community that is always giving to you. You will know that Tesla Scotta is always giving back. Every week we have one person or the other coming to teach us something, and we have had a lot of testimony with regards to that. People are coming back to say that because of one thing or the other. In fact, there was this person that got a job because he listened to one of the upskilling session we had with Oji when he was teaching us about playwrights, and because of that, he was able to get a job that has to do with that. So it's a lot. It's a lot. These are things that people learn with money, and then you get it freely as a community. So it is an opportunity to always say, "Oh, thank you, Testers Quarter. I associate with what we are doing," and then you give them, please. I've finished saying all the English. Go to your LinkedIn page and Instagram. Let me see your post on NSCW. We are going to like it. I'm going to comment as well as Testers Quarter. We really need to push this out there, and I'll be so good. So I'm just dropping the link right now, nscw.testersquarter.org. You can do that, and you can also purchase your ticket. Thank you so much. So moving on, while we wait for other people to ask their question, if you would like to ask your question by a raise of hand as well, it's not bad. You can raise your hand, and we will take it from there. So I want to ask a question to our keynote speaker about balancing speed and quality in an agile environment. Because the agile environment is always, there's something always happening. There's always something we want to push to production. There's always something we want to do. I want to know how, as a leader, and it's very important because we have a leader in our space right now that would answer in a fast-paced agile environment. We know that QA team, we are often pressured to test quickly, release faster. Imagine a developer has been working on something for 6 days, and then they call on a QA today. We need to go live tomorrow. I need you to test all these endpoints. You need to go live. How can we balance speed and quality in an agile environment now?
So your question is an good question, right? And it's a debate I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon. One of the ways I've learned to to manage it is, and one of the ways I encourage my teams whenever I have the opportunity to share, on this perspective with them is this: the best way to get quick results is one, to collaborate strongly. So you cannot afford not to have a good relationship with your team members, including the developers, the DevOps, the PMs that you're working with. So you start from there. The other thing is you also have to participate. Participate in the sense that when we're planning work that is supposed to be done, show up and actually contribute. Don't be on the call but not on the call, especially in this era of remote work where you're not physically in the same room when the meeting where you're planning the work is happening. So it's easy to be distracted. You're on the call because when you come, like the way we're all on this call now, but if I call some names, you might realize that they are distracted and so they can't respond. You and I who have to be actively engaged on this call because we are the ones speaking, right? So don't assume that because I'm the one speaking, I can be distracted and be taking, I'm working on something else while I'm supposedly on this call. No, you have to participate, because your participation is when you then realize that, the way you're planning to implement this particular feature will be problematic from the get-go. So let's fix it by really aligning the thought process. That participation helps you all arrive at a shared vision from the get-go. That shared vision is part of how you begin to bake vision in bake quality in from the beginning. Because even testing is not just until you collect the code and start looking through it and playing around with it and seeing where the flaws are. Testing starts from when the requirement was happening, when the planning was happening. Because at that instance, you can already have a conversation and be like, no, if you're planning to implement it like this, then this will happen. I'll give you an example. Earlier this week, I was having a conversation with 2 of the team members. It was a random conversation. It didn't involve me. They're not even in my business unit, but we're in a meeting together. And during the break, they were discussing the particular feature they're trying to implement somewhere, and they were discussing how they wanted to implement it. And so I stood with them and I was listening. And as soon as I started talking, and they mentioned what they were trying to do, I was like, I immediately saw that the way people are trying to implement this thing is really complicated. It's not supposed to be this difficult. How about you just approach it from this perspective? Have a define what you need to do here, and then reference what you have here to implement the different features. It was something around the loyalties or leaderboard kind of situation, right? And so based on that quick interaction, right, they've not started work, but because I was there and I saw what they were trying to do, I could immediately tell them that no, this is a simpler. And immediately like, oh yeah, perfect, that makes sense. That is how you solve for quality early. Because otherwise they will build that solution the way they were thinking about it. And when they get to the finish line, maintaining it will become a system, because it will be difficult to maintain based on what they were thinking. But by doing the alternative I suggested, it was going to be a very seamless and much more straightforward way to manage it. And so that's why collaboration is always important. Be willing to listen in when people pull in and say, quick minute, you have a 5 minutes to listen to this. When you're there, really be there and contribute. In that contribution, you make a difference, first of all. So when you want to, I think of quality as a non-negotiable in anything that is going out. Maybe because for me, I'm big on, I can't put my name on something that is not going to be good. It's a personal value for me that excellence is important. So whatever you're doing, do it well. And so with that perspective, if my name is going to be mentioned as people that worked on this project or that had a contribution to this project, then let's do it right. If it means that we're then going to be a little slower in delivering, I'm happy to make that conversation and have that negotiation with my stakeholders to say, see, because we don't want to go and come back and rework, give us a little more time to deliver this. And then in that a little more time, and then the other thing is when you begin to be consistent and you begin to show consistently that you are who you say you are and that you deliver on your promise and on your commitment, people start trusting you. And because they trust you, when you give them an estimate and say it's going to take me this long and I need this much to deliver XYZ, they will believe you and they will let you go and run your show. But you need to begin to show that you are worthy of that trust and that the leeway you're asking them to give you in terms of how quickly you want to deliver. So when we're able to balance all of that, good rapport and good relationship with your team members, having an eye for quality and excellence from the get-go and actually contributing actively so that you can solve for avoidable problems early in the game. Because also remember that if you fix the problem before they start writing the code, it's better than when they've written the code, they give it to you, then you're like, oh, there's a problem here, then you send it back, and they're like, you guys know what you're doing.
Yes.
So all of those are factors that you need to build in. So I have this way, the way I think about and I approach life, and I applies in many sectors is what is the outcome I want to have when this thing is done? So for instance, we're building a solution. What's the result I want? What will make me feel like I've delivered on my mandate, so to speak, when this is done? And so from that answer, I work backwards. What are the things I need to do to ensure that that outcome is what I get? And so because of that, I'll be able to tell immediately, like, I want a performance system. That means our response time will be very low. And the code algorithm, whatever way the person writes the code, they also have to write it in a way that when volumes come in, the system will be responsive as well. And so based on that, what do we then need to do? We need a baseline to make sure that our APIs are responsive at this particular millisecond, and that our servers and the network latency, all of that are accounted for. So what do we then need to do based on all of this that we're trying to achieve to make sure that when we then get to the finish line, we are at where we want to be? So those kind of things. I think somebody said something about agile in the comments. Let me quickly read. Let me see that.
Yes. Should I read it out?
Yeah, because I thought it was related to what I was saying, but if it's not, then
yes. It was just a comment. Say when running agile and they want to push to prod same day. I think it's just a comment. And the person also said a ticket was pushed to QA on a new feature where you manually test. Are you expected to firstly create a test case before testing the feature, or exploratively test and come back to create a test case?
So I think the first thing is, one of the things I love about Agile is, one, it allows you flexibly define how you want to do your work. And because it is also Agile, it means that the ticket didn't suddenly show up on the board. You guys sat down and had a sprint planning session where you discussed for the next 1 week, 2 weeks, however long your sprint window is. These are the things we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks, and this is what we're focusing on. So you knew it was coming. Because you knew it was coming, you're not going to wait till the day the developer pushes the code to you to start thinking about what tests you're going to write for this particular ticket. At that time, when you guys were planning, part of how you arrived at the acceptance criteria was because you had done some simulation and thoughts and decided that, okay, this is what will make this user tickets or this user story pass. So you already know what you're supposed to do. So your test case will not come out on that day when they finally send the ticket to you. It was supposed to come out from the week when you guys did the sprint planning. And that's the other thing that I know QAs tend to do. The code is not ready, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to do yet. When the code comes, I'll know how to approach it. But that's how we waste time. One of the ways we can actually do it, if you're not in the planning session, there's already something wrong with your agile process. You should be in the planning session. And so that's which is where collaboration again comes in, which is why I always harp on collaboration. Build a very good rapport with your team members, so that when they are planning the work that is going to come to you, they'll be like, Omolere is not here, let's call him in, or let's call her in, so that they can participate in this planning session. And then you need to show yourself valuable so that they know to make you a reference point. How do I mean? When you show up in those meetings, contribute value. Don't just be there saying, unmute your mic. Any contributions? No, I have nothing to contribute. You know that thing we all do on Teams. So do you have any feedback? For no feedback? Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Whereas when you now start testing, you now find 10 million things that are wrong. And then, but when they were planning, you did not contribute. So when you make yourself obviously valuable that way, it's easier for them to call you in for your perspective and listen to you. Like I said, the example I gave earlier about the colleagues that were speaking, it's not because they invited me in. We were all in a meeting, and it was a physical meeting this time, and we were all just during the break period, I was standing around and having conversations, and I met them talking. But because I quietly listened in, I was able to then say that, oh, if this is what you guys are trying to do, have you considered this option? And it immediately became, oh yeah, that works perfectly. That was how I contributed. So even though these people are not people that I actively work with day to day, because they're also engineering managers in their own business lines. And so it's not like they'll come and meet me every day and say, Temitope, what are you thinking about this? Or what do you think we should do about this? I just reminded them again that I have value to add to any conversation you invite me to by just that contribution. So it's not until the actual planning session happens before you start demonstrating value. It's in the casual interactions you're having with people, in the casual conversations you're having at work. You just bring the value you have. Don't be that person who wants to hide what they know because you don't want anybody to shine with the knowledge you're sharing. Because guess what? That contribution I made to those guys, when they implement that feature, my name will not show in it. Yes. But in their mind, they know who contributed to it. Oh, yes. Do you understand? So when you're willing to share quality, when you're willing to share value that way, it eventually adds up. Because a day will come when they are in a room conversing, and they'll be like, that person, they have it too. Because they know you've constantly and continuously added value to you. So even though you're not in the room, when they are discussing some of those things, they're able to confidently say, oh, you should invite Omolere here because Omolere would add value to this conversation. So that's the perspective you need to carry into your work. Don't be the victim where they didn't invite me, so I wasn't part of it. Now they want me to test and I don't know what to do. No. When they do it next time, you gotta make the person planning, maybe the PM or whoever is planning. Hi, because I have to test this thing, I need to be part of the planning session. Add me to the planning session, involve me so that I can add the value early into the what we're doing. I hope that helps you, Damilare.
I believe so. The PM works with my team.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. I actually appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Temitope, for those answers. Collaboration is very key. And I want to ask on behalf of people that are just joining the QA field newly, because some of these things, when you want to communicate with developers, definitely you need to know what you're saying. So, and I know people that are already in the field for like, say, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they already have like a pattern, they know how things are supposed to work. So, as someone that is just new to the field, you're in this team that normally they don't even carry you along. And if you want to talk, you don't even know what to say. You don't know, like, you don't know how to put your thoughts together to say, and this is what it should be like. What do you advise people in that category? Uh, Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay. What about Temitope? Can you guys hear Temitope? No. Okay. I think we lost her. Temitope, we cannot hear you. Let me reach out to her. I believe something went through. Yes, I think she's going to join again. Guys, are you enjoying this conversation? Yes, I am too. Yes, let's wait for her to join. Chino, so I see that you're okay. She's back. Chino, so I see your hand is raised. I'm going to call you shortly. Okay, welcome back. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
I lost connection, so I switched networks just to be sure that I can still hear you guys. So I'm back fully now.
Okay, you're welcome. Did you get my question?
No, I went off just as you were about to ask. I heard the part about a new joiner who wasn't this credibility with the team yet. How do you get into it? Is that the question?
Yes, and I was also saying this person is new. The person
Yes.
might not have all the technical terms to be
Great.
able to. So how can this person contribute to sprint planning?
Okay, so the first thing is this: I believe strongly in something. Be humble. Now, humility does not mean you're stupid. Let's separate the two. It doesn't mean you're not smart or intelligent. But if I'm joining a new team for the first time, I'm not going to come like I know what to do. You guys don't know anything. What you people are doing is nonsense. So I come with humility to learn. And I'm not going to assume that because I am older than, I'm more experienced than, or I have more degrees than whoever else I meet on the team that I know better than them. So you approach everybody with respect and humility. Respect does not mean that, and then humility also does not mean that you are going to downplay what you know. But you're also not going to show up like I'm the one that knows everything, or because you're new in this system and there are things you really do not know. Beyond what you can see and what is logical, there are illogical things to every system. There are silent rules that apply in every organization that nobody will tell you this is how we operate here, but that somehow that is how they operate. And if you miss it, you're going to goof royally. And that goof, you might never return from it. It might be a career suicide. So with that understanding, you approach it from the place of, I want to learn. And so you know who the team members you're working with are, who is the other QA on this project, who is the other developer on this project. Hopefully, they are all welcoming. And even if they are not, one or two people will still be more welcoming than others. Align with those people, make friends with them. And make friends with them is not until you go and sit with them every day. It's as basic as on Slack or on whatever channel you guys are using. Every other day, hello, how are you doing today? I just thought to say hello. Is there any tickets ready for me? Or do you have 10 minutes? I just thought, well, I was wondering if you could just quickly walk me through this picture that you built on this particular thing. So you're building the rapport with this person before you need them. When sprint planning comes, they can see that one, you're eager to learn. You're not the proud one who is trying to prove that nobody knows everything. Everybody was doing nonsense before you came. You're the only one that knows the right thing to do. You've already demonstrated that you're a team player, so you're willing to collaborate with them and be friends with them, at least in the context of work. Because again, the friendship doesn't have to go beyond work, so you don't have to go hang out and eat pepper soup after work. But at least build enough of a good rapport that they are willing to work with you and willing to collaborate with you and willing to share information with you. And that's all you need, even if you're new on the team. If you start from that perspective, information will come to you. They will share with you. They will invite you to those meetings. They'll notice that, oh, this meeting invite. They did not invite Ayo. Ayo, please add Ayo to this meeting because Ayo should be here. So I hope that kind of satisfies that for that person. If you're new on the team, be willing to learn. There's a reason why you're new too, because you don't know anything. So don't form, even me, I was the first class graduate in my class, so you must respect me here. Your first class does not count in this context. Nobody really sends you. Now you're in the workplace, so learn and be willing to learn. And then after a while, when you build credibility, then you can start also moving stuff and making points.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you have to respect everybody, whether you are the most senior or the most junior on the team. Speak respectfully to anybody and they would respond to you. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask questions about relationship management, but you touched on it. I would still like you to say a little bit about that. One of the things that you have emphasized during the course of all the questions is you mentioned collaboration and also building a very good relationship with your team. So I want to know, how can one, like QA engineer, foster a good relationship with not just the developer, but also your QA teams and your leaders in your engineering team as well?
Okay. So I think it's the same way you build rapport with your friends. The difference is that you wanted to be friends with your friends. This one is in the workplace, so you don't get to choose them. But they are the people you're working with. And because they're the people you're working with, and your career at this particular time that you're in this particular organization is tied to them, you need to also still find a way to find common grounds with them. And it can be as basic as being that person who they know that, because for instance, we have to account for the fact that workplace is now hybrid, it's no longer in person every day. So it's not like you see them every day. In fact, there are colleagues that you might not even see for months or even years. But build the rapport of that person who they know that every couple of days you might just drop a message and be like, oh, how are you doing? I just want to say hello to you. You're not coming to ask them for anything. You're just coming to say hello and you're leaving. I just thought to check on you. It's been a few days since I heard from you. Hope you're good. All right, now have a nice day. Bye. You're not even waiting to say hi and waiting for them to reply the hi before you finish saying your messages. I don't know if you understand. Because we also need to respect the fact that chat is not synchronous, and that is not, as I'm saying hi, you're saying hello back to me because we're facing each other. When it comes to the chats, I may not see my message until 3 hours later. But in that 3 hours later, I saw that, oh, Faith reached out to me, she checked on me, she was saying, how am I doing? She wanted to check on me, she's not heard from me in a week. And that made me feel good. When I'm replying to her, I'm like, oh, thank you, Faith, for reaching out. I've been all right, or it's been very busy. Work has been very crazy. But thanks for reaching out. It was really, your message was a bright spot in my day. Thank you. And I go off. But she has left a good feeling because she noticed that I've been quiet or I've been unavailable or I've been kind of not as actively present everywhere, and she checked on me. Now that has left a good feeling, right? Tomorrow or 2 weeks time, she does the same thing again. If I'm now somewhere in a meeting and Faith's name comes up as this person, when Faith's name comes up instinctively, because she has built that response system, I think of her in a positive light. Because she's been that person who has been friendly. She's not my friend in that we're not sitting down to gist, but she's been friendly to me. And that's all that really matters. Just show yourself friendly. You don't have to be their confident in that they're telling you all the things and giving you all the gist. No, it's just that at least you're that friendly face in the room. And the days when you actually are in, maybe you have to work in the office and you see each other face to face, go around the office, say hello to everybody. Hi, my name is this. What's your name? I work with this team. What team do you work with? For those who you don't know in person, that way you build a rapport. They just know you as this person who is just very warm and comes around and says hello to them. And I also admit that some of us are not into that kind of thing. We're not that kind of people. right? We're not the kind of person that will enter the office and wants to go and greet everybody one by one. It's not our thing. But whatever the context you are in, whatever you, even if it's that as you're walking towards the door, the person's walking towards the door with you, just say hello to them, talk to them, smile and say hello and keep it moving. You already made a good impression. I'll give you an example of something that happened to me. I even don't have a memory of this thing. The person was one that told me. And what they said was that they had just joined the organization at the time, and that I walked up to them and I said hello, and I called them by name and introduced myself and asked after them. And I was like, I don't remember having this conversation with you. But as far as this person is concerned, because of that interaction, in their mind, I am an ally forever. I would always be a good friend as far as the workplace is concerned, or a friendly face or a welcoming face to them. I don't have a memory of doing that. In fact, in my mind, I'm like, maybe this person misunderstood me. Because I'm like, I typically will remember if I said hello to somebody, right? But I don't. But that goes to show that when you just choose to be friendly and polite to people, it creates some kind of rapport and goodwill for you that you don't know when it will come in, right? And that is the way you move through life. Don't just be caught up in, I have 15 years experience, I have been around forever, I know all the algorithms, I know all the systems, I know all the tools that I can use. AI, I was one that bettered AI. So why are you trying to tell me, what do you know that I don't know already? And then because of that, you're hard to talk to, you're unapproachable, and you're this person who is not kind to people. Because even the underdog, even the security guard, the person who carries your plate and washes your office or cleans your office or washes plates is valuable. So approach people and just be kind to people generally. It goes a long way in creating those kind of goodwill for you that gives you access to things. I have people who come and tell me things that there's no way I would have known, if not because I just have a good rapport with them. That's all. They have those informations will not come to me, but because this person I'm friendly with this person and I'm standing with them right now, and they'll just casually be like, oh, this is happening, are you aware? And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't go looking for it. I didn't even have to be part of the gossip, if it's a gossip, And the other thing is also that be a person of integrity. So people don't know not to bring gossip to you. So when it is that, this is the way Faith responded on that meeting. She's just a very mean girl. And then they start having those side talks. They know that you will not participate, and they don't bring those kind of things to you. But they just know you're a person of integrity and you're a kind person generally. Information will flow to you that will be beneficial to your career. So I think that's one way to go about it.
Thank you so much for that. We have Chinonso's hand up. We are really running out of time. Chinonso, would you like to ask a question with your voice?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Temitope. This has been a wonderful session. Yeah, I've learned a lot. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask my question around. I'm going to be pointing out career growth. Yeah. Now, working in an organization and you feel okay, you've reached that point that okay, you are no longer facing challenges and you need something challenging, and you start applying to companies, and you find out that this has been bothering me though. You find out you keep applying, you're not getting calls. You keep applying, no, not even that. Sorry, unfortunately, you're not even seeing anything, and it's really mind blowing because where you're working currently, okay, I've been doing a lot. I need something challenging. And you start applying out there and nobody's calling you. Like, is there anything wrong with me? Is there anything? So I'm trying to understand, are there key areas or key features that your CV should have before recruiters would reach out? I know for InterSwitch, I've seen a lot of adverts on QA on LinkedIn, and I've applied and nobody called me, nobody reached out. I said, now Temitope is here. Let me hear my voice as let her hear. So are there key areas, are there key features that the CV should have that will make that okay, you see the job description, it's something you can do, it's something, but when you apply, nobody's calling you. I think that's my concern.
And that's a very fair concern. And it sounds to me like you're speaking many people's minds around this.
Yes.
And that's fair. It's one of the things I've come to accept is the fact that the job market is an interesting space, and each organization has what they are looking for. And so sometimes it might not be their cup of tea. Just the same way they might not be your cup of tea when you get the leg in the door, and that's fine. But don't let that be the reason why you will not keep trying. Hmm?
Okay.
There was a video I saw online recently. I think it was on Instagram or so, and the person was not even a tech person anyway. I think she ended up winning either an Emmy or a Grammy. But as at 2020, she had just lost her job and she was crying on video. I mean, she obviously recorded the video of herself crying and saying that, well, now that I've lost my job, okay, so from tomorrow I'll start going to all the studios. I think she turns out, I think she's a musician. I've forgotten her name because I really don't know her actually. I just saw the video and then I saw her getting an award. So I figured, oh, this person must have been like a singer. And what she had said was she lost her job that day. She cried about it. And I told herself, no problem. I have nothing to lose anymore. So I'll keep knocking every door to every studio I find from tomorrow. And I'll keep going as many as I can find till one accepts me and gives me studio time. That was 2020. This is fast forward to 2025. She has now won a Grammy. What it meant was that she probably got several no's that we did not hear about. But the reason why we are hearing about her now is because she has now won a Grammy, right? So all of that I say to tell you that you keep knocking doors, don't stop. The door that is yours will open to you eventually, and you will get a job offer. But while you are still where you are, where you feel like you're not growing, look around you and say, why do I feel like I'm not growing? Are there still other things I can then contribute? Maybe there are things you guys are not yet doing as an organization. It might even be that the organization feels they're not mature enough. Can you then troubleshoot it and say, okay, because the reason why we're not doing this here because we don't feel like we have the capacity to handle it. What are the solutions? Can we host that thing on cloud? Does that then make it possible for us to do it? Or do we have to have a self-taught session where we all come together, study together, and share knowledge so we can do this particular thing? That might infuse new life to the job, pending when you get another offer that would still also appeal to you. So those are ways to manage and navigate that. I'm telling you this because I have been there too. You know, times when you're like, okay, there's nothing interesting happening anymore. I think it's time to pack my load and leave this place. But like I told you, I've also learned to then look for places because in the course of my career, I have worked as a QA, I've worked as a software developer, I've worked as a program manager and QA, I've worked as an implementation engineer and QA. When I say and QA, that's because I'm doing those two things simultaneously. Not like, oh, I dropped one hat and put on another hat for a period. But that is because I realized, okay, I think I'm bored now. Nothing interesting is happening on the projects I'm currently on. What else can I go and look at and do? And I pitch in. And that gave me a different perspective and insight that I then bring back to my core QA work and enrich it some more. So it's a mix of all of those things. And of course, in those instances too, there have been times when I actually went on and I was like, okay, yeah, let me even go and interview elsewhere and see what's happening. And when I didn't see what they're doing, I'm like, no, interesting enough. I'm not interested, you know, and I remain where I am instead. So but I have learned to then enrich my job, and that has been what has helped my career then grow to the point where I can say I'm an engineering manager today because I've then done so many things, contributed across so many places and projects that I am a subject matter expert to an extent in a number of things. I hope that helps you somewhat, Chinonso.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Temitope. And there's a question in the QA Q&A session. As a QA, can you share some tips that one can use to position oneself to grow into a leadership position?
So I have a different perspective. And that's the fact that you don't have to grow into a leadership position if you see yourself as a leader already. Remember what I said earlier when I said that I usually look at the outcome I want, then I walk backwards from that outcome. So if I want to go to Ibadan today, the goal is to go to Ibadan. And so I then ask myself, if I was in Ibadan today, how would I get to Ibadan from where I am? And so that's when I then start plotting my graph. I know where I want to go. And based on that, I then plot backwards and say, what do I need to do? What steps do I need to take to arrive at Ibadan eventually? And so I can ask myself, based on where I'm currently in Lagos, because I'm in Lagos at the moment. So, okay, because I'm in Lagos, I can either go by bus or by train or by flight to Ibadan. Are there any airlines flying to Ibadan today? Maybe not. So cancel, I cannot fly. The next option is train or by road. If I'm going by train, what are the options? I need to check the train schedule. Is there still any train that's going to leave from Lagos to Ibadan today? If there is, where is it leaving from? Is it leaving from Yaba or is it leaving from Abule-Egba? Then I need to find my way to Abule-Egba. If I leave from where I am now to go to Yaba, will I get there before the train leaves? If the answer is yes, then that's an option I can take, right? If the answer is no, that cancels out the train option. Then now this will be road. If I'm going to go by road, how do I get to the bus park that will get me to Ibadan? Do I want to drive myself there? Do I want to hire a cab? Do I want to call an Uber? Do I want to go to a Jota Park to find my way to Ibadan? And so based on all of those questions I'm asking myself, I'm tracing backwards so that at the end of the day, whatever action I take will land me in Ibadan that I want to go to. So bring it home now to your career. You want to become a leader in Kiwi. The question is, what does a leader in Kiwi look like? And guess what? It's easy to know. ChatGPT is your very easy hack, right? Just tell it as what is the requirements of a, maybe, what's the word now? C-suite level quality engineer or quality VP. Let it give you what that looks like. When you see what it gives you, the question then is, where am I based on this particular requirement it has given me? And then you work your way through that. So practically speaking, what I did was, I don't think I was a team lead before I started acting as one, in the sense that I just took responsibility for what was in my portfolio. I took ownership at every point to say that this project is my project. I'm responsible for the outcome that we get from this project. And if I'm responsible, then I need to make sure that all my team members contribute their best so that when we deliver this project, there'll be no rollbacks, there'll be no bugs in production, there'll be no losses in terms of revenue losses. Because remember that I work in a fintech, and so money is always involved. And so with that mindset, it's influenced the questions I asked my team members and the requests I had from my team members. And when I say my team members, I mean my fellow QAs, the PMs, the developers on the team. Nobody was too out of reach for me to challenge or ask questions respectfully from. And so if I felt that this thing was building, based on how we're approaching this thing, we'll be in trouble when it goes live. I'll come back and sit beside you and say, guy, let's talk. This thing we're trying to do, I'm already worried because this and this will happen. Can you convince me it will not happen? Or this is what I'm thinking about of how we can do it so that we don't have this problem in the first place. So I don't go to them and say there's a problem. I go to them and say there's a problem, but this is what I think we can do to solve the problem. And so after a while, I built a reputation of the person that is on your project. You guys will do the work. You will not be able to hide skeletons, but we'll do a thorough job. And when we deploy, we'll sleep well that night. Do you see? And so I got that reputation as that person that, in fact, it still came up this past week because, like I said, I no longer actively test. And my fellow engineering managers, we now only meet in certain sessions where we're having governance conversations. And we were trying to do a presentation, and I was like, let me look over it and see it. And the person who was in charge was like, Temitope, you have taught me to be very thorough and insist, because you would always insist that let's look at it one more and let's look at how it works and let's see if it's working fine. And I said, and I jokingly laughed it off, and I was like, don't spoil my good name. I'm a very gentle person. I don't look for trouble, But the point is, it's clear that that reputation is burnt in this person's memory as this particular person. If you're working with her, she expects a certain degree of excellence and accuracy. And so I cannot do anyhow, because she will look at it and she will ask questions and we would all deliver a better outcome. So it's always a case of, in fact, look at it. This is what I've thought about. Here, look at it. What do you think? Because I've built that reputation. So that's how you build your leadership skill. Take ownership of whatever is in your portfolio and take ownership for the excellence. And guess what? In all of this, it's not that we did not have times when things did not go wrong, but things went wrong at different instances, right? But when those things go wrong, too, I also take ownership for the things that went wrong, and I take responsibility for it and say, okay, this went wrong, and this is why it went wrong. So that this particular problem that happened now will not happen again. What do we need to do to preempt it? And then we build it into the solution. There was a time when we had a solution that was supposed to run some kind of reports every morning. So by the following morning, when we come to work, the report should be there. And we started having instances where sometimes that report will not be there. When that report is not there, it has a cascading effect on the operations and even the revenue for the business. And so it got to a point where like, this problem cannot keep happening. We need to be able to know that it has happened or that it did not happen before it happens. So I told my team members, see, we would have to build our own check, because we cannot wait for the operations team to come and tell us we've not seen this thing before we know. Every morning, we must get some kind of thing that alerts us from our system that tells us that it has happened. Otherwise, we should go and check ourselves because somebody can tell us it doesn't happen. Over time, we built that solution. Used to be a very brittle solution in that for every time you deploy, you're going to do a fix for another 1 week because things would have broken by default. But we got to a point where that solution became so stable that way. And that solution was so bad that they will not allow us to deploy during the day. You have to wait till at night to deploy, because you know that when you deploy it, it will break. And when it breaks, customers will be upset. So But we were able to fix all the problems gradually, slowly but steadily, to the point where we were allowed to deploy it during work hours. And that was a testament of the fact that we owned the fact that this problem is existing, but we'll keep doing whatever we need to do to make sure it works. And so that again built a reputation, because subsequently, whenever there was then a product that was problematic, guess who they brought it to? Because they now knew that this person will take ownership and will make sure it gets sorted somehow. So even if everybody that owned that project and that product was not, they couldn't figure out how to make it work, and they were just always having challenges with it, when push came to shove, they will pull me into the team and say that, you need to join this particular team because this product is important, we need to go live and things are happening, blah, 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 blah. And then somehow, because again, my mindset is not, I'm doing all the work, I'm not getting the work. My mindset is, if my name is on it, then it must work and it must be fine. And so I put in that effort to make sure that that happens. So I hope somehow that the person who has asked that question has gotten some insights as to how to build that leadership. Eventually, your reputation will speak for itself, so you won't have to defend yourself. And part of how I can point to the benefits is I've had instances where I didn't have to be at a session where I was basically supposed to be presenting my work, and it was the people on the panel that were contributing to, oh yes, that's one, it was you that did that one. Yes, I remember that this happened and you did this, that, and that happened and you did that. And I didn't even have to talk too much to convince anybody in the room to say that, yes, this person did the work, because you could test to that already. So that's how you build it.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer. Yes, we have someone raising his hand. Joe. Joe, you have the floor. Is he there? All right, while we wait for him to get ready, I see a lot of passion when you're talking about engineering, QA, and everything like that. So I want to ask, is it the point of starting this journey that you had this passion, or you caught the fire along the line? Because some people, they eventually run away because QA is very stressful. So I want to know, what was it like for you when you started?
Again, I have always been a very curious person, right? And because I'm curious, I don't allow myself get stuck in the mundane things. If something is not interesting to me, I put it on one side and I go and look for what is interesting. Mind you, if that thing that is not interesting to me is then important, I find a way to ginger myself to get it done. But I don't allow myself get bored with things that are not interesting. So because I live, and it's in every aspect of my life, I live from a place of excitement to an extent, or I don't get involved in something that doesn't give me joy. So because of that, I would typically somehow get excited if the convention centers around those kind of things. For instance, I joke that I love money, right? And so if you're having a conversation about how to make good money in a legitimate way, I will be happy to, listen in and contribute, because it gives me joy as well. So that kind of thing, I find, so for me, engineering, software development has always been something I've always been interested in different ways. Like I said, I've done software development, I've done quality assurance, both manual and automated testing, because I started out as, in fact, the reason why I got into QA is because automation was happening on my team and in my organization, and they wanted somebody who had coding experience. So that was how I got into it in the first place. But I've always been excited about anything that is exciting. So if I'm involved in something, chances are I can find a degree of excitement in that thing. And so that's how I move through life, generally speaking. And if it doesn't interest me, I contribute my best and I quickly excuse myself from that, so that I don't bring my own boring, excited self, to that. And so that's probably part of what you see shining through.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Emmanuel, is Joe Max, are you ready now? We have, please, if you are ready, you can speak so that we have you. While we are waiting for him, somebody here says, please, I want to know how QA can get remote jobs in countries like USA, UK, and Australia. Would you be able to jump on that question?
I won't be able to answer that question, so I'll let you, who is more in that field, And I know there are probably job portals and things that you can use, but I'm not an expert. As you can see, I work in Nigeria, I live in Nigeria, so I may not be in the best position to give you those kind of insights, as in that is current at the moment.
All right, thank you so much. So please, we have some people on the call, and I would really like to hear from you guys. We have more people on the call that can, I mean, people that are not new in the field. Please ask more questions. Okay, they said there's a question in the Q&A session. Let me check.
Faith, give me
Q&A.
2 minutes.
Okay.
I'll go off camera and use my mic while I listen.
All right, all right. Working in an organization where they don't have a PM, leadership, CEO or CTO, communicate with engineering leads about feature implementation, no documentation. It is until the feature is done, it gets to QA. What do you think QA can do in this case? I think she answered the question earlier, but we're going to take it again. This person wants to know that in an organization where there's no product manager and the leadership, whether the CEO or CTO, communicates with engineering lead about feature implementation and there's no documentation. It is until the feature gets until the feature is done, it gets to QA. While we wait for the Temitope to answer, I would like to some people on this call. You can also help us to answer this question. We have Mary Francis on the call. Mary, would you like to jump on this question?
You just
You're
had to
laughing.
set me up. Hi everyone.
Yes, I
Good morning. Oh,
Good
is it
morning.
Monday? Oh yeah, good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, so to answer that question, that's like a dicey kind of situation. But one thing Temitope like emphasized on is collaboration, and it's very, very important. So first thing first is to collaborate, because if you're in a bigger organization, most times it's always the CTO talking to the head of engineering, then the head of engineering going to developer. So most times they might not do like the right documentation and everything there, but you can collaborate with the developer in such a way that you can get on a call with them and ask them to like explain or like tell you what exactly you need, so you can start gradually. So what I mean that you can start gradually, you don't want to do the whole change immediately. You introduce it gradually till people get very confident, meaning you get on a call, collaborate with the developer and say, okay, this is what you want to build, can you give me like an understanding of what the application is all about. Then from the understanding, you can, it's very important that you record the calls. Reason why I'll say that is that it forms a base of evidence, as I used to call it, evidence, and something you can always remember. Then if you could have, I would say have a minute, but most times we're always so busy that we might not be able to do that. But you have tools that do that. So you record the call, then you drop if it's in a general group, you drop like a tip or a summary of what the call was all about. I used to do this on a project where they come up with new changes. Like there's no documentation, so they're coming up with, oh, maybe we want to do A, B, C, D, and I'm like, I might not remember everything, so I guess after the call, I jot down what was said and put it on the general group. And why this? Why do I do this? So everybody is aware of what we are working on, and it gives you like a tool to say, oh, this is what I was informed that the feature is going to do. So after doing that, you write your test cases. I know we like to do exploration, and most people definition of exploration is just pick up the app, then start testing, do check what the app does. It can be very risky because um it's very risky because sometimes you might not remember some edge cases because you're just trying to meet timeline. What you can do is have a checklist instead of having a detailed test cases. You can have a checklist if time is of importance, like you need to do this thing immediately, you can have a checklist. Let your checklist cover both the happy parts and the hedge cases. And when you're done, you write a report and you send it out. So gradually, whenever they have such meeting, you can tell them, oh, please, can you invite me to the meeting? So you gradually start building rapport to an extent that they have no other they don't have any other opinion than to drag you into this call. Because one thing I realized is that people don't like to have this conversation twice or three times. So they would say, we need to get this QA on call. But if you start from a place of, why did you people call me at the very beginning? Then you have issues. But if you start from a place that, QA needs to be there, then you start introducing the process gradually. You will basically have more people on your side that would say, let's get this person on the call first. Let's get Mary on the call. Let's see our own point of view. Let's see what she wants to say. And when you have documentation, it actually helps you. So from my own point of view, try start small, collaborate as much as possible. Please document everything. You might want to skip documentation, but please document on your own end. They might not want to document, but document on your own end. And before you know, you start introducing it gradually to the organization. So that's my own take. Over to you, Faith.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary. I believe our expert, yes, so I see she's already giving you accolades. Thank you so much, Mary, and thanks so much, Temitope. So someone also asked, the new question, is it out of place for project managers to also be QA in startups in Nigeria?
It's not.
Yes, and then the concept. Okay.
Go on, please finish the
One
question.
second. Okay. You said also, is being just a manual QA okay? Because you have a career roadmap in project management, or you still have to learn automation testing? Because I'm really bothered.
So I don't think it's out of place for a project manager or program manager to have a good understanding of how to test, because it gives you the language. Then you can speak the language of who you're working with. One of the biggest struggles that most project managers who were not technical face is when you come to be a project manager in a software development team, you don't understand the language. And so when they say we want to do this thing, you just do garbage in, garbage out. And so they start trashing you and saying, your work is just to ask how far. You don't know what else is going on. But if you want to have value, one of the easiest ways to do that is to start by being a tester. At least once in a while, pick something up, play around with it, manual testing. If it's a web portal or a mobile app, install it and play around with it to see how it behaves. That gives you an inroad into understanding the products that you're managing. And so based on that, you're able to then begin to understand the peculiarities and the experiences of the people you're working with. And that helps you become more relatable to them. And based on that, you're then able to properly integrate and build a good rapport with them. Now, in terms of your own personal career path, if you're not planning to build a career as a software quality assurance engineer, then it's fine to stay at manual testing. You don't have to go on and learn automation since your career path is actually projects or program management, right? So in that case, you don't have to worry your head so much about understanding automated testing. If you're curious enough, you can dabble so that you continue to build relevance with your team members. The analogy I will give is this. Parents, as a rule, when your child is born, for parents, when they have a toddler, you tell the child what to do, go here, go here, go here, go here. When we all became teenagers, we didn't want anybody telling us what to do anymore. I have brain, I know what to do. I want to go out with my friends. I want to stay out till this time. I want to do XYZ. Nobody should tell me what to do. Why are you telling me to go and wash my clothes or lay my bed or cook or whatever, right? Because you now feel like you had autonomy. And so it's kind of the same way in that what you need per time changes in order to stay relevant as a program manager. In the context of the analogy I gave, the parent was a program manager in the sense that when the child was born initially, you could tell the child whatever else to do. But after a while, the child started having ideas because they've now grown and they have other knowledge that's coming beyond what you've given them. And they can now start comparing what you've told them and say, no, this is right, this is not wrong, or this is not right. So if you as a program manager does not stay relatively aware of what is happening in the field that you're working, or the people you're working with are in, you will soon lose relevance too. Because one day they will mention something and you'll be like, what is that? And because you don't understand, you suddenly are no longer really, they don't really give you as much, credibility as they would have if you were actively and relatively aware of what is going on in their field. So stay relevant, but you don't have to become the expert, with all the automation tools that is available, but at least stay relevant. So that's what I would recommend.
All right, thank you so much for that.
You're
I would like to, okay. Joe Max, you can go ahead now. All right. Let me go ahead and ask another question. And this has to do with women in testing. This is a question I've been waiting to ask. So I want to, how have you been able to juggle everything as a woman handling the leadership position in QA engineering, and you're able to excel in your career and also balance it with family and lifestyle?
So everything there's a place for everything, right? And you have to figure out where that is for you. And then when you figure, again, it's still the same formula I use. What do I want? And then I work backwards from it. What would that look like? In some cases, it means that I have to pay somebody to do some things for me. In some cases, it means that I have to sacrifice sleep for some things. And in some cases, it might be that I'll try to say no to some things. You alluded to the fact that last weekend you called me and I said no, right? That I couldn't make it. And so we scheduled for this weekend because I had things planned. For context, last weekend was my birthday and I was not even feeling 100%. I was not ready to come on camera and just with people.
Yeah, happy birthday, though.
Thank you. I just wanted to rest and relax. And that was also because July was very busy. So July is busy. I'm starting the month and I'm suddenly getting a call to come and have a conversation with people. And I just told myself, even though I would like to do it, it's going to be a lot. I can't pack it into the day I already had. So I just told myself, no, I'll just say no, and hopefully some other opportunity at a different time will come up. And then today came up. In the context of today, so it's not like I've not had a busy day. As I'm sitting here like this, as soon as this call ends, I'm sitting the road, I'm going to the mainland. But all of those is how you have to arrange your schedule to say, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do, and how do I align my life to make sure it happens. I asked you to go off camera and replace my mic for a few minutes because I left to take a call to tell the person that, oh, sorry, I can't make it yet, but I'll make it shortly. So you learn to become very organized. You have to be very organized and you have to be very proactive in how you want to align your life. And it also helps when you have people who are supportive in your life. So you're picking a life partner, also pick somebody that is supportive. So that you will be able to partner in getting the outcomes you want as a family. Because if you don't have a supportive partner, no matter how hard you try, there are days when you'll be mad at the person, whether male or female, irrespective of who you marry, honestly. So that also helps really. And be very organized, really reasonably so. Plan your life will be organized so that you can figure out. There are times when I tell people that I tell my friends, you won't see me for the next 3 months. I love you, but you won't see me because I have things I want to do in that period. And I know that I have to block time to focus and get it done. When I'm done, you'll see me outside again. But until then, we'll just be saying hi once in a while on WhatsApp and on calls. Otherwise, we will. So being able to just figure out what's important to you and then make sure that you make. The other thing is I put the important things in my life first. So when I'm scheduling I use my calendar a lot. My new calendar is how I plan my life. And I use it a lot. So I make sure that, okay, 8 to 5 any given day is work because I'm paid to work. And they've paid for that time. So they have it. But what happens before 8 and what happens after 5 and how am I maximizing it? I block my calendar as much as possible to plan the things I want to do that is important to me. And like I said, you pay people for something. You might love to go to the market, but maybe your life is too busy to go to the market. So you find someone that can go and buy it for you. Or you love to cook, but the way your life is currently set up, you cannot be cooking 3 things or 5 soups every weekend anymore. You pay somebody to do it for you. Find somebody that you like what they make and then pay them to do it for you if you can afford to. So it's just kind of leverage that you need to have. Oh, yes, you're busy, so clearly you cannot clean your house every weekend. Schedule somebody to come in twice a month. The other days, make sure you are picking up. You don't leave your shoe, one shoe here, one shoe there, because you know there's nobody that come and clean it, and you will not have time to clean it. So you tell yourself that when I enter this house, as soon as I take off this shoe, I'm going to put it on my shoe rack so that I will not have to come back and clean later when I have time because I may not have time. It's those little things. Or you're done eating now. You either choose, do I use a disposable plate so that I don't have to wash it? Or do I finish eating and wash the plate immediately so that I don't have to come back later? It's those, you literally have to become very organized. That's the way you would be able to, and then be willing to say no to some opportunities at different seasons in your life so that you can then make room for the things that are important in that season for later as well. So it's a mix of all of those. I hope that's somehow sort of, because that is what I practically do in my own life, what I just told you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. It's very helpful. It's very helpful. We have a lot of super women, and they are hailing them. They want to do everything. Like, you can do it. You can walk. You can sweep. You can do this. So I like the fact that you can also share some of those responsibilities. If you can pay for it, just let it go so that you can focus on the most important thing in your life. Yes, thank you so much, Temitope. So let us have
Sorry,
Joe now.
just to chip into it. If Joe is ready, you can go, but just to chip in also that even in paying for those things, sometimes it might mean that you join a community of women who women buy things in bulk, for instance. So instead of you having to go
Yes.
to source, you're reading that this community of women will go and buy this thing, pay your own share of the money, pay for them to deliver it to your house. You
Right.
don't have to,
Yes.
and you got good value for your money already because you didn't have to go to the market. Some things you shop online, you might not be able to enter the market to go and price it. Just shop online and close your eyes, pay for the convenience. So those kind of things, find a way to balance it.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Please drop link, drop link for us. All this kind of community.
Please, I mean, Instagram is where I find most of these things. You see these women that tell you that they go to market, they shop for you. And I'm happy to test you. If you work for me, I will continue to use you. If you don't work, I will find another person till I find the one that works for me.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right, Joe, you have the floor now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you so much, Temitope, for your insights. Thank you so much, Faith, for this platform. You guys are doing a very, very wonderful job. Okay. So I have a question and I have a contribution. I don't know which one to take first. And also, I don't know if we still have much time on this call. So which one would you like me to take first? Should I take the contribution first or the question first?
Just
And
go
of
with
course,
any.
the question is okay. So let me take the question first. As a family man, as me, I'm someone who is married, and I work in a very fast-paced environment. I work in the fintech industry, and as we all know, the fintech industry is highly competitive in Nigeria today. My workspace is very, very fast-paced. What I mean is, I'm a quality assurance engineer, and I am a team lead. And every now and then, we have products that we are testing, a lot of products that we are testing every now and then. I mean, so fast paced to the extent that there are days when we move from UAT, from SIT to UAT, and the following day, they want a test report. The same day, they want to go live. I mean, we've had to deliver products from test environment to production within weeks. So the experience is such that I'm always working, I'm always busy, from test environment, to production environment and all of that. And in the middle of that, I still maintain an oversight as a team lead. I maintain an oversight of my team's work and all of that. We do reporting and all that. The question now is, for someone like me, how do we create that balance? How do we find a balance between work environment and, other family, personal issues, personal, matters, personal affairs that we need to do? It's a constant struggle for me. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's a very, very challenging and very challenging environment and constant struggle for me. That's the question I have.
Okay. So, and you're basically asking the question that I just answered, right? Only it's from a different perspective, because now I'm going to assume that you're a Nigerian man who is a bit traditional. So in your mind, your partner should figure out food and children runs. Your own is to provide the money, and then you can let me have my time to rest. And
Exactly.
while I understand that mindset, I don't agree with it. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'll say in your own context too, it's always starts with your why. What are you trying to build and why are you trying to build it? In the sense that you got married for a reason and you started a family for a reason, and you're working at your career for a reason as well. So based on all of these eccentric cases and all of these exigencies that you have in your life, what is the big picture you're trying to achieve? And then work backwards. What will be suitable to you and your partner? Because you cannot be insensitive to the person's needs as well. If you choose to not consider what they need, you might struggle to keep the level of closeness and intimacy you would need in that relationship for that relationship to last a very long time. And I will be honest with you about that. That is one of the things that is missing sometimes in relationship in the African context. One person's needs is prioritized above the whole other people's needs. And so eventually there's an eventual resentment that sets in. And then people start saying that we are fine, but you know that we are not really fine, you know. We're just maintaining peace and composure, but the real foundation is already shaking. So all that to say, see, when work gets busy, and if work is chaotic, it means that you guys are probably not doing something that you can do better. There's room for improvement, right? There's room for process improvement and adjusting how you guys are approaching work. So it's having those conversations, but starting gradually. Mary suggested something about how that, you start beginning to introduce how you want them to engage you by subtly dropping those mixing notes in the comments or in the chats that lets people know that I'm keeping notes of what you said we're going to do and we're agreeing. And by you not pushing back and saying that's not what we said, you've agreed to it. So if tomorrow you come and say that's not what you said, the reference and the only evidence that exists is the note I dropped that nobody said no to, nobody countered it, nobody gave additional input into. That is our reference point, and it's from there that we're going to make the next decision as to what we're changing. OG, please, can you mute your mic? So, in light of that as well, thank you.
OG, your mic is not okay. I'm trying to mute him. All right, let's go ahead.
So to speak to what you specifically asked about, Joe, it's planning your life around that. You only have 24 hours in any given day. You can choose to say Monday to Fridays for work. There was a season in my life where I worked even weekends. But that was the season, and that season has ended. Now, the only reason I'll work weekend is if there's a proper, real, everyone is falling emergency. But that is how I am able to structure my life. For some people, they still have to work weekends because that is the level of where their work is at. But you just need to be able to plan and make sure that the things that are important in your life have the windows that they sit in. And your team members will adjust eventually. There was a season in my life when 9 o'clock, I'm just getting ready to close. PM, by the way. I'm just getting ready to start packing my load to go home any given day. But again, that season has ended. I don't need to do that anymore because I have now figured out how to get my work done in a way that I don't need to work too long to get the answers and the results I need. So it might mean that you put structures and processes in place. For instance, I know this project is coming. What are the typical test requirements I need to prepare? I already prepared in advance. I probably up whoever needs to prepare for me and scope them. If it's to buy pizza, 1 box of pizza to secure my peace and sanity, I will buy it. But it saves me the hassle. 1 box of pizza is how much? It's not up to 15K. We'll buy the pizza and we'll have peace. So those kind of little things. If it's that I know this person is a father and he likes his children, I will call you. How are your children doing? What are their names? When is their birthday? Or their birthday, I'll send you a message. But guess what? I've bought my peace. It's that casual interaction. Because now when I come to you and I say, Joe, how far? We need to get this thing done. How do we get it done and get it done quickly? You're willing to also put in extra time for me. But that extra time is not every day I come and demand it as well. So you just find structures because I don't know exactly where you work. I can't tell you the exact things to do to solve for the problems you're facing. But I'm telling you that what you need to do is to sit back. Don't be too in love with the problem that you're not looking for solutions. Look for options and alternatives. So if this is what is going on in my workplace and they always want us to move from production, from SIT to UAT to production in 24 hours windows. What can we do differently that make sure that we're ready for that? I used to have a scheme where the product I said was problematic earlier. At some point, it will sound ridiculous to you, but I'll give you an idea of the kind of chaos I was dealing with. This product we're using Selenium IDE to test it because it was a UI-based product, and this was many years ago. Selenium IDE was about the only automated test tool at the time. And we ended up having close to 18 test suites. And when I say 18 test suites, I'm not talking about 18 jobs, but more than 18 test suites. Every job had different modules that it was focused on testing for this particular solution. So for me to run a test on this particular project, every time we make a change, I need to run regression. And that regression will cover those 18 jobs on UAT. Then I'll move to staging, run these same 18 jobs before I can say I'm ready to raise CR to go to production. That means that I'm working on at least minimum of 36 jobs that must all pass, because not one can be red for me to go to production. All must be blue. I learned quickly that if I'm going to have sanity, I need to maintain the test cases, the regression tests constantly. So every day when I get to work, I quickly check, did any test suite fail overnight? Even though I'm not working on the project actively, this project is not actively in development, but I'm monitoring and I'm maintaining my test suites to make sure that the regression tests are healthy. So that every day when I get to work and I check which of my tests failed overnight, this one failed, why did it fail? Oh, somebody changed the data. Okay, if it's data problem, not a problem. But if it's code that is failing, I immediately buzz whoever is working on it. Uncle, you broke this thing by working on this, and this. Can we check it and fix it now? Because my tests must pass tomorrow morning. Sooner than later, this regression that used to take me, like after we finish after we finish development and we start regression, it takes us another 1 week before we can go to production with this particular solution, because we have to sit with all the test suites and work on each one to make sure they are all passing before I can raise my CR. I said, because I now started babying and supervising and monitoring these my products and the tests that came with it, sooner than later I could go to production within 2 days after finishing code, because my regression was ready. The only thing I'll need to add is the new module that I added and the automation for the new module that was added, and then run everything, pass it and move. But it took me realizing that to start doing that before I started having sanity. So I could now sleep. And like I said, eventually we could deploy this product during the day. In the past, we would have to then wait till like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. before we can deploy. So after deploying, you now still monitor to make sure it is working fine. By morning, first thing you need to go and check, did all the reports according to how they are supposed to generate, and these are people's money. When I say report, I'm saying it casually, but it's money that is involved. Did all of these things work before I can have full peace of mind that day that, okay, nothing is coming from my head today? But my point is, you need to figure out the chaos. Where is the chaos happening in my life as far as my work is concerned, and how do I bring sanity to it? So that's basically what I will tell you about that. I don't know your specific case, and in your family too, you also need to do the same thing, uncle. You cannot abandon your wife to go on the work. Please don't. I beg on her behalf. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I know a lot of ladies will like this answer. Please help us to tell them.
Because it's the reality, right? And balance is always key. You have a better relationship when your spouse feels like they are an equal partner, in the sense that their needs are also considered in the decisions the family is making as a whole.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Temitope. Thank you so much. You actually hit the nail on the head. And I'm just someone that is lucky. I have a partner that is very, very understanding,
I'm very happy for you.
Otherwise, I don't know how I would be able to cope.
Please don't take her for granted. Don't just tell her to let her know that you appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the small person, when she says, hold this baby, please hold the baby.
Yeah, of course. I usually tell her that. I give her the feedback. Thank you very much. Okay, so while you are answering the question, there was something I saw. While you are speaking, I observed that you are someone that is passionate about your work, right? And it's the same thing I've observed with professionals across the field, because you have been around, the field for a while. I think this is my 10th or 11th year in the IT industry. I've been in the commercial banking sector, and now I've been in mobile network operating sector too. Now I'm in fintech. And what I see that is common is I see people who are passionate about doing their work. There are different reasons why people do their work. There are people that just come to the environment and do the work because of the salary and all of that. That's the motivation. But there are people that do the work because they are passionate about it. And that's where my contribution comes into connection now. For people to thrive, I'm just addressing the house now. For people to thrive wherever they are, no matter the level of experience that you have, maybe 1 or 2 years, or maybe you are just starting, you need to develop passion. You need to be very, very passionate about the work. And I was actually recommended into the fintech industry. This is an MNO, a mobile network operator that has a fintech. So I was a quality assurance engineer in the MNO, and then someone observed me and actually recommended me that, look, there's a problem in the fintech industry. We want you to go there and be the team lead. So what I'm just trying to say is my passion. I'm someone that is very passionate about my work. And I see that for anybody to thrive in any area, people, especially leaders, top leaders, they will observe your passion. They will see, is this person someone that is passionate and all of that? So that is the first thing. The second thing is being open-minded. I'm addressing the house. You have to be open-minded. In this age of technology that we are, being open-minded is very, very key. I was just doing some observations that this idea of open this, what is the secret behind this? All of a sudden we have open source. All of a sudden we have open AI. All of a sudden we have open data, we have open standards, open this, open API, and all of them. Like, what is this openness about? So I began to do my research and I was like, it is very, very critical for IT professionals to be open-minded. Open-minded means what? You are someone, the first thing is you're someone who likes collaboration, who is big on collaboration. And I heard Tope at the beginning of her speech say, she's someone who is big on collaboration. It's very easy. It's going to be very easy for you to learn. IT is vast, is huge. You can learn a lot of things if you're someone who is collaborative. You are easy to approach. You are apt to learn. You are apt to teach. Collaboration is the first thing, to being open-minded. Then the second thing is being innovative. You are apt to change. You are someone who is very dynamic. You are not static. I mean, when I got into the fintech industry, I met people who are stiff. People, professionals that you find difficult to relate with. And because of the kind of mindset I have, I'm someone who is dynamic. I found it easy to relate with people that were, people that have been reported as being difficult and all of that. And the job was just easy for me, combined with my passion. The third thing is transparency. You have to be transparent. If you are going to be open-minded, collaboration, innovation, then transparency. And the final one is interoperability. That works together with what developers are doing. You are paying attention. You are not just stiff. You are not just saying, oh, let me just mind my business and all that. You are checking, you are looking at that, paying attention. You are even learning about business analysis and all that. So that's being open-minded really, really helps us to go far in being IT professionals. That's just my bit. Thanks for the time.
Much, Joe, for that. Temitope?
Yeah. So
Yes. Joe, thank you so much for that. Yes, so this is where we're going to be wrapping up. But just before that, I want to ask Temitope the last question about AI in testing.
Okay.
Yes, AI this, AI that. And everybody is just, hey, some people say AI is the future. How are we going to live in the next 5 to 10 years? And how can we use AI appropriately in QA? I said appropriately because AI can make someone lazy, can make you not develop, you just be dumping things on everybody by using AI. So how can we use AI appropriately to our advantage as QA engineers?
Okay. I think it's the same way for anybody to use AI appropriately and responsibly. And that is that you don't outsource your brain to AI. And I'll explain. There is this concern people have that if AI works the way it should work, then they are going to lose their job. There are those who have that school of thoughts. But the truth is, what sets you apart is what's the value you bring. There are things you can do that AI would never be able to do. And that is where you then hone those skills. There are mundane things that, for instance, if a developer's claim to fame is that he can write code, then AI will totally take over his job with all due respect, because AI will write better code than you. But what AI would not be able to do is, for instance, have context in a way that allows you to think of the solution. Because for AI, what you tell it, if you prompt it with, oh, I want you to write me a website or a web portal that does X, Y, Z, A, B, C, then that's all it will do. But because you're human and you have context and you understand that beyond what I want to build, it's going to sit in this kind of environment, interacting with this kind of people, and this is the kind of human beings that will be using it as well. It gives you additional leverage beyond just being able to type code. And I'll bring it to QA as well, right? Beyond being able to test and, walk through. I mean, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I saw a post on LinkedIn about a startup in Y Combinator who basically are building an AI tool to test mobile apps. So what it means is that if my only claim to fame is that I know how to click through mobile apps to test it, then I'm in trouble because that tool will take my job sooner than later. But if you're then able to bring value outside of what AI can do to the table, that sets you apart. The reason why vibe coding is controversial is because people are like, you're vibe coding, but at the end of the day, you really don't understand why it is doing what it is doing. And so when the AI engine does not generate proper authentication for your solution, you become subject to attacks. When denial of service is not properly prepared for in the way your system is built, you become subject to attacks. When regulatory rules, PCI DSS, CBN rules, NDPR, all those other rules that are regulations that are in place are not properly accounted for, because AI really cannot have all your context, then that becomes a problem, right? So you've been able to understand that beyond my skill as somebody who clicks on web portals, works with APIs and works on mobile apps and confirms that they are working fine. Beyond that, what is the real value I bring to the table? Identify those and then become stronger in those. That is how you set yourself apart. But please, by all means, embrace and use AI. Because I'll give you an example. If you don't use AI, you're like those people who were developers back in the early 90s, early 2020s, early 20s actually, so 2000, 2001. The era where we used to use Notepad to write code. And I say that respectfully because, yes, I too started out using Notepad to write code. I just dated myself by saying that. Literally, you will write your HTML code in Notepad, you save it .html, then you open it in web browser and you see if it's going to render well. If we chose not to use IDEs when IDEs came, and we said, no, the only way to write code is to use Notepad to write the code, then when the comma is missing, you will now be troubleshooting for another 3 days, not knowing why the comma is missing, when there's an ID you could have used to make the work easier. It's the same thing now that is happening with AI. So there's a tool to make your work easier. But in all of that era, even though there was an IDE that made the work easier, it didn't take away the fact that the developers who understood the binaries, the zeros and ones, and understood how by using a for loop instead of a when loop makes a difference in how quickly your code will then run and how well it will behave under pressure. Those were still the ones that were still standout experts, 10x developers, right? And the same thing fits here too as well. So use AI to help you come up with test cases where possible, but be that person who still understands the margins and the edges where at this edge, I as a human being need to step in. At this other edge, I as a human being need to step in. But in this middle center here, I can use AI to assist and to augment my output. So that's what I would say about AI.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Temitope. We are so happy. We have almost spent about 2 hours. This is 11:49. We took a big part of your time on this lovely Saturday, and we are so glad to have you. Do you have any farewell, sign off afterward for us?
Maybe just to say, guys, AI is not coming to get your job if you can make yourself, very useful and set yourself apart. One. So the other thing is make yourself a brand ambassador for quality assurance as a function. How do I mean? Let people who interact with you, let developers and other people in other roles who interact with you as a quality assurance engineer leave you feeling pleasant because it was a pleasant experience with you. And that comes from how you do, the excellence you bring to your job, the curiosity you bring, the willingness to collaborate. Don't be the person that's trying to be the superstar on the team at the detriment of everybody else, train everybody else under the boss. Faith does not know anything. I need to taught her what she knows. No, that's not how you build, rapport. You build in a way that people want to work with you. I know today our field has a reputation for QAs and developers are cat and rats, but you can change that narrative. I don't have that experience because my people know that me and you are in it together. So let's solve this problem together so that we can all sleep and shine together, right? So be that person who brings their best. Don't just be in it to make the money, please, because you, sooner than later it will separate you. Like Joe alluded to, right? It will separate you from the good people, the good ones from the ones that are just here for the money. There's a difference, and it shows eventually. So I think that's about all I would say. And yeah, keep in touch, and please maximize all the resources that Testas is offering you. I'm sure they have a whole lot. Make use of it and maximize everything. Thank you for having me this morning. It's been nice spending time with you all.
Thank you so much, Temitope. We're so glad to have you. Guys, let us drop all the love for Temitope. Thank you so much, guys. I'll be expecting your comments in our community about what you learned. The things that stood out most for you during this conversation. Guys, please do not forget, go to nscw.texasportal.org and go and register for the Nigerian Software Testing Week. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. It's a 6 days hybrid event. The first 5 days is virtual, and the last day is here in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, guys, and let us have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Bye, Faith.
Bye.
Bye.